Welcome everyone to our latest Biz Snap show. And today we are talking to Ted McLyman. How are you, Ted?
Bernadette, it's a pleasure to be here. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. And now, where are you at this very moment in time?
I'm located in a small town, about 10 miles outside of Augusta, Georgia, where it is now hot, humid, and summer.
So I'm right up the street in Atlanta. So yes, it is hot.
Perfect.
And actually we're getting some rain. So I'm hoping it'll cool down.
Get it. I get it.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, this is the show that showcases small businesses so you all thrive today, tomorrow, and in the future. So tell us a little bit about yourself personally, and then we could dive into the business questions.
Well, small business is my thing. After doing 21 years of the Marine Corps, retiring as a lieutenant colonel, I opened my own private financial planning industry or firm. Sold it a few years ago because I started writing, because I was dealing with so many smart people that were doing so many crazy things with their money, particularly entrepreneurs and small business owners, that I needed to get this on paper. And I started writing about money behavior. So I spend the majority of my time now with a pen and pencil or a computer, talking to people, smart people, to help them make better money choices. And that's what I write about.
Wow, and that is so much needed right now, especially with everyone kind of in flux, and some people are good, other people are not, and everyone's worried, everyone's concerned. So are there particular areas that you find are the biggest challenges for individuals?
All of it. and let me caveat that. Well, let me tell you, if you've ever been to a garage sale, if you ever walk through your garage and you look around what's there and you wonder how it got there and how you're going to get rid of it, that's just people on money. Or have you ever run into the supermarket to buy, milk and bread and walk out with $150 worth of stuff you didn't need and forget the milk and bread?
Yep.
After working with hundreds of entrepreneurs and small business people and individual investors, it became obvious to me that people just aren't hardwired to work well with money. It's our biology, our belief set, where we grew up, how we grew up, and our culture that conspire against us on a daily basis,
Right.
to make bad money decisions. So a few years ago, I decided that I needed to start a quest to help smart, busy people discover why their money temperament is making them broke, and then help them fix it using a very simple system. So that's what I do today. And I'm on my third book.
Nice. Okay. So, but what does that look like? Because again, one element sounded like, well, that's coaching. Another element, then all of a sudden you said, well, that's my book. So what is your medium for bringing that to the persons who
primarily the book and my website. And then I work with coaches. I will take on clients individually on a case-by-case basis, but I'm out trying to naively change the world. Okay. So if I'm going to do that, I've got to get out and talk to a bunch of people. And what we're doing today in books and speaking is the best way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fundamentally, the common wisdom or the conventional wisdom about money is wrong. I was trained in traditional finance and economics. I taught economics at the Naval Academy when I was in active duty. And what I found there was what we were teaching was that we're all rational, that we have perfect information, and we will always do the right things with money. Well, how's that working out? Not very well.
No.
So when I got into my practice, I found that most of the information I was getting assumed that if I just gave you the right stuff, you would figure it out and do the right thing. Then the 2008 meltdown came by, and I found that we were really kicking it out of the park. And that's when I really got interested in the behavioral piece that basically says that we humans are not hardwired to work well with money. And we need to work on that.
Yeah. 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 Hardwired. I can definitely understand that, just because when you have 10, 20, let alone 50, 60 years, of belief systems and experiences and highs and lows when it comes to money, it can really probably wreak havoc, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, we are emotional animals who think. We are not thinking animals with emotions. Consider this. money has only been around for a few hundred years. Our brains have been around for a few thousand years, actually a few 100,000 years.
Right.
Our brains were designed to keep us alive and pass on our genes. They weren't designed to do taxes, worried about the best deal at the local mall, or make change.
Isn't it the truth?
It's true, but we don't talk about that. And I found it very interesting, even disturbing, that we really don't teach financial literacy in school. It's not a requirement. We just assume that you hit a certain age, you get a job, and you're going to figure it out.
Right.
It's not working. It is not working.
Right.
So to begin with, our biology is wired to be quick. And about 95 to 99% of our spending is non-conscious, automatic, and emotional. We have to work to make it a rational buy. That's why you've got a $5,000 navigation system in the car you don't need. It just made sense at the time. It was an emotional buy. It's not a problem when you're going through Starbucks, but it is a problem when you add an extra 5,000 square feet onto the house you really don't need.
Right. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that so? Right. So when you say the books, so are they? Well, obviously they're a lot of tips and whatnot. No, go ahead, please. Oh,
yeah. This is the latest book, which is we just put out in January, because it was kind of ironic that I was looking at how we've had such a good run for 10 years. And people were starting to do what we did back in 2008, doing crazy things with money.
Right.
I said, this is going to turn. Now, I didn't know it was going to turn the way it's turned. However, you got to.
Who did?
You got to play the hand you're dealt.
Right.
But fundamentally, what I wanted to start making people understand, particularly younger people that are just now entering the workforce, that have never seen what's going on, that they've got to realize that their brains are what are in charge, their emotions with money. And it's so different today than when I was growing up. There was a time when you were told to get a great education, to work hard, find that dream job, stay there for 30, 40 years, retire, find the place someplace warm, and life is good.
Right.
Well, that doesn't exist anymore. So I started working with my clients, and I was seeing a trend that they were doing what they thought was the right thing, but the right thing is no longer the right thing. Mm-hmm. And that we have to stop talking about money and start talking about money behavior. And again, I'll go back to the idea of financial literacy. If you're fortunate enough to have taken a course in high school or college, it was probably a technical course. And the problem with that is, it's probably solid information, but it may not be good for you the way you're naturally wired with money.
Right.
I'll give you an example. I taught at the Naval Academy, some of the smartest academics in the country, incredible young men and women. They were brilliant in the classroom, but did incredibly stupid things with their money when they left the classroom. And we couldn't figure out what was going on. Yeah. And what I finally realized, what our default behavior is emotional, not intellectual, not rational.
Sure.
So that puts us in a position, we do crazy things with our money.
Sure.
And it is what it is.
Yeah. So your book was, hold it up again. Your book was Discover Your Money Temperament.
Yep.
Is the latest
Discover Your
book.
Money Temperament, a common sense guide to financial security.
Nice. And can can you explain, is it also a workbook of sorts where people can actually, like you were saying, the younger people, to rewire their brain, they have to first understand where they're at? So
let me explain what this book is and what it isn't. It's not a book about money. It's a book about money behavior. There are no graphs, no pictures, no math. This is everything you should have gotten before you went to the store. No, I've worked with too many people. And I mean, I do the math thing and all that. And I've been places where my head will explode when you're with some of these professionals and they're talking about this stuff and your eyes glaze over, you hit your head on the door and you're going, my gosh, I'm never coming back. Well, that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
The other part that is making the money process, particularly for entrepreneurs, most entrepreneurs are wired differently than the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the world is trying to put you in this one size fits all mold, which is rational, analytical, straight thinking. I've got my business plan. I've got the checklist. Most entrepreneurs don't think that way.
Right.
We're
Right.
creative. We're driving forward. We're chasing the shiny sometimes. It gets us into trouble, but we have to understand right up front, I think you need to baseline how you naturally think and feel about money. It's a function of your biology. You're human. You're going to be emotional with money. Get over it. You've got a feeling brain and thinking brain. Your feeling brain's in charge. Number two, your behavior, your belief set with money is a function of where you grew up. You can blame a mom and dad, but it's really your peer group probably around middle school. So if you grew up in the 80s with big hair and starter jackets and Jordans and acid jeans, you're still thinking that way with money. You can change that belief set, but it's hard to do, just like diet and exercise. And then the last piece is culture. Our culture has such a dominant impact on how we think and feel about money and what we buy. You live in Atlanta. Housewives of Atlanta, that's a showcase for crazy, crazy money behavior, and it's all emotion.
Yeah.
So I started putting that together, and then I realized that the rules of money have changed. If I had to give one piece of advice for everybody that is here, it's baseline how you think and feel about money, your money temperament, but realize that the rules have changed. Everybody today is self-employed. They just don't know it.
Yeah. Yep.
You're within a heartbeat of having to do something different. Yep. You've got to start thinking of yourself as self-employed. You've got to act like you're self-employed, and you've got to behave like you're self-employed. That means starting by baselining who you are. How do you naturally work with money?
Yeah.
And my point is, we don't judge. There's not a correct way. It's unique to you.
Right.
Where people get into trouble is, Bernadette, I would be your financial advisor, and I would be this super crazy jerk who wants to talk about Georgia football, but not listen to you. Yeah. And not realize that you're not going to do the things I want you to do because you're not wired that way, as opposed to you telling me, Ted, this is how I think and feel about money. I am naturally wired to kind of be a spender. So I need to keep that into perspective. I am risk adverse, but I want it all. That's what I mean by money temperament. That is going to drive everything you do non-consciously. So that has to be the benchmark for which you move from. And we don't talk about this, but we need to start.
Yeah, we don't. Well, people don't like to talk about money, right?
Right.
It's just a subject that is like squirrely, and it reveals too much about us. And that kind of thing. Well, let me ask you something. So once they have this book and they're getting to know their money temperament, is there a connection back to you? Do you kind of, link into those individuals, beyond them doing the work within the book, or what is, or is there another book after that they then?
Yeah, let me explain the system a little bit. I wanted to make this book as kind of a self-contained manual, if you will. It's available in Amazon and all major stores. It's available in hard copy, soft copy, and electronic, but I think everybody should get the soft copy. This is the manual of how you think and feel about money.
So you can scribble.
You put notes in it. You take highlights. You write all over it. And then when you're going to go make an important buying decision, you throw it in the car on the seat next to you. And just by looking at this thing is going to save you a fortune.
Nice.
It's like making that list when you go to the store that nobody does.
Right.
It forces you in your thinking brain to be more conscious about what you're doing. But more important than that, I've got skill sets in here and skill checks that you can go through to help you determine 5 things that I think are important to you to help you spend better. I call it your money behavior system, or the money belief system.
Right.
It is, number 1, what are your values with money? And I don't care what they are, they're yours. And what I mean by that, it's something that you're emotional about, that you're willing to save and work towards. And if it doesn't happen, it's going to cause you anxiety.
Okay.
Now, here's what I find with most people. They may say they want to do one thing, but their behavior says something different. I don't judge.
Right.
Look at your checkbook, look at your calendar. That will tell you what your money values are. If it's decorating your house, eating out and buying clothes, that's fine. I can show you how to do that.
Right.
But if it's a saving the world, you're probably not going to, you're going to have to make a choice.
Sure.
Then determine your money temperament. How do you
actually think? Is that number 2?
Yeah, number 2
okay.
Number 2 is, and this is a chapter in the book, is money temperament. How do you naturally work with money? And it's organic to you. And if you're married, have a partner, children, you're going to realize that everybody has a little different money temperament.
Sure.
Which
And
can
number
cause
3?
Number 3 is money knowledge. Not only what is your technical knowledge with money, but how do you like to process information? Are you a visual learner, auditory, hands-on? How you process information is tremendously important. How you understand money and how you spend,
Agreed.
because the financial industry is oriented with written stuff, spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And it's ironic that most people don't process information that way.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
understand the front end, which is what are your values, what is your temperament, and how do you process information? That is your money temperament. That is unique to you. Now the drill is to build a strategy that is aligned with how you naturally think and feel about money.
So that's number 4.
That's number 4, your money
Okay.
strategy. So your
Okay.
money strategy is your big picture, where you're going to go and how you're going to get there, realizing that it's not a direct shot. Sometimes something happens on the other side of the world that impacts us over here in the Atlanta area and everything
Right.
blows up.
Right.
Wow, it just happens faster than it used to. But your strategy needs to be aligned with your values, your temperament, and how you process information.
Okay.
Then you go out and put together your action plan, which is to see somebody like what I used to do, which is a financial planner, a coach, a business consultant, somebody at SCORE. But the key point there is whoever you're working with, they should understand the front end, which is your money temperament. And we never talk about that. And that's why most financial plans crash and burn. That's why most never get executed.
Right.
And that's why we turn around and a lot of people are broke in their 50s and they don't know what happened. If we start with the front end, which is money temperament, which has nothing to do with money.
Right. Right. It's all mindset. It's all mindset.
You got it.
Absolutely. It's all mindset. So you mentioned the Amazon, but why don't you tell everyone where they can get more information about you, but at the same time, we really want them to get access to your book and what other resources,
right.
ways they
the best thing, the easiest way to get hold of me is my website. It's tedmclyman.com. That's TEDMCLYMAN.com. And that has everything you need to know about me, and it has links to my social media and whatever. My social media is just the @ with Ted McLyman, YouTube, Facebook, and whatever.
Nice.
And I also have a course site, a couple of e-courses dedicated to this and dedicated to the book, which are available off my main site, which is tedmclyman.com.
Okay. And then lastly, just real quick, what would you say the result of someone leveraging your knowledge and your tips and your guidance through this book, what kind of transformation do they see in their lives as a result of that?
Great question. Okay. I had an individual read one of my first book a while back, and he is quite affluent. And he called me up and said, Ted, I've read your book. We need to get together. I like what you're saying about this behavioral thing because my spending's out of control. And after getting to know him a bit, he had squandered about $8 million over a 10-year period with nothing to show for it.
Wow.
Fortunately, he was very bright, a very good entrepreneur, and was making a gazillion bucks and was able to recover. But he and I working together, where I was able to isolate his natural money temperament, to give him a strategy to accommodate how he's natural with money, not change his lifestyle, but put some controls in there that as a result, he calls me all the time now. It's Ted, I was going through, a very expensive jewelry store and I didn't buy the $100,000 Rolex. And what it did was it put him in line with how he naturally thinks and feels about money for the first time of his life.
Nice.
And then I gave him some very, very simple, if you will, controls to say, whoa, this isn't Starbucks. This is the Ferrari dealer.
Right.
I need to have a situational awareness. I need to have some controls in there. It's okay to say no. It's okay not to go.
All right.
And it worked. It worked wonderfully.
That's awesome. Because I can just envision, being that I'm very visual, envision just the confidence and the stability and just the overall relief people feel when they can get their hands around their money values, their money behaviors, their money confidence, their money struggles, their money everything.
Right, right.
So that's awesome. All right. So tedmclyman.com, everyone, and check out his book, Discover Your Money Temperament. It could change your life right now. So do that. Okay. Thank you, Ted. I so appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You're very welcome. And everyone, thank you for joining another Biz Snap episode. And be sure, if you have a small business that you want to showcase so you can thrive today, tomorrow, and in the future, please send an email directly to me, Bernadette Bose, at ballofireinc.com. I'll talk to everyone for another Biz Snap episode. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Ted.